Hi guys, welcome back. So Scotland 15, France 22. I mean, France deserve the win. They are the better side. They do have slightly the better players, but Scotland hung in there really well, to be honest. And, you know, they could have nicked it, but I think the right result was there in the end, with France edging it. Scotland just not quite good enough in certain areas, particularly power, scrum, rucking potentially. Looking at the game, well, it's quite interestingly, Scotland starting a little bit slow and gave away two very soft penalties. Just the power carries from France, just too much really, too easy. Repeated it twice, 2 pens, 6-0 very quickly. And I was thinking, well, this is dangerous. This could be problems for Scotland straight away. But then they actually come back with 2 penalties of their own. You know, they initiate a maul, Scotland, but it's going nowhere. And that's a bit of a theme. The French maul was a lot more penetrating than the Scottish maul. But when Scotland get into good phase play, they really do understand what they are doing. They're very much on the same page. And they get a penalty off their good phase play. And then Scotland moving forward with the ball, starting to get their heads through the gaps. Dwayne van der Merwe doing really well. He did quite well all game, to be honest. And that gets them to 6-all. So they come back quite strong there. And in this period, in the first half, the game's pretty balanced. I mean, it looks like France have got a bit more power, but it's pretty close. Really nice drop goal, actually, from Jalabert. He's come in for Intermac and done really well, to be fair. Good attack from France, but nothing's coming, so they go back for the drop goal, nails it. And then Scotland come back into it. Again, good phase attack. Price milks the penalty really nicely for the guy crawling away the wrong way from the ruck. So that evens it up, and then again a soft penalty. Scotland don't secure a ruck straight from kickoff, which is pretty criminal. Give France another easy 3, so that's 12-9. And then on 37 minutes, Weir goes for a 40-metre plus kick and absolutely nails it. 12-all, which is what it's like at half time. So France look like they're more on top. They look like they should go on to win this game, but Scotland are playing pretty well. Their attacking shape's pretty decent, and 12-all at half-time is pretty much a good result for them, to be honest. Then, straight away after half-time, the Vakatawa try. Now, they concede this straight off set piece, which is really worrying. You don't want to concede straight off set piece because, you know, everyone's evened up there. There shouldn't be mismatches. But anyway, it's an 8-9-12, but then it's Fiku, who's a good ball handler, pops it back inside to Rattez, who then goes back out to Vakatawa. Too much power. Hogg can't contain him. They score, and that's kind of the nail in the coffin for Scotland, although obviously we don't know it yet, but, you know, that proves to be the decisive phase of play. But then Scotland come back with a penalty, good structured attack. That's what's keeping Scotland in this play, their structure. They're kicking to compete fairly well. They know what they're doing. They don't have the attacking edge, but they are doing it fairly well. So that's a 15-19. Then the French subs come on. You know, they've had scrum dominance slightly, and that continues. And then they go into a huge maul that just goes 40 metres, absolutely minces the Scots. This happens a couple of times. And they get unstoppable maul. And for some reason, they go for a cross-field kick. I think there was a confusion. They thought they had a penalty advantage, but it was over. So that would have been a certain try, I think. So I think that would have put the game out of sight, but they don't get it. And then another maul penalty. They just mince the Scots. That goes to 22-15. And it's looking pretty bad. Scotland do have a chance on 74. Line out 5 metres out. But again, a big counter ruck from France clears the pressure. France get a couple of penalties after that and go all the way down the other end. Nearly get a long range penalty themselves, but they don't get it. And it finishes 15-22. So yeah, it's the right result, I think. France had too much power, too much penetration in attack, and just more danger with, Vakatawa, all the forwards really. Camille Shaw was impressive when he started. They were just getting over the gain line that bit more. Dupont was class again. For Scotland, there were some decent performances. I do like what Cummings brings to the team. He really runs onto the ball with pace and penetration, as does van der Merwe. But really, I mean, there were mistakes from both sides. They weren't perfect, but really Scotland just aren't as good player for player as France. Both teams are fairly well set in how they play. You know, one team's not miles ahead of each other on their structures and their patterns, and then it really just comes down to the players they've got, and then the players that France have got on the bench especially are just that much better. So yeah, deserved for France. Looks like they're marching towards the final. Scotland have done well, but that's pretty much where they are at the moment. Anyway guys, let me know what you thought of the game, if you agree with my assessment, and the players that impressed you or didn't, and I will catch you next time.